explain that to the public and to us.
Yeah.
And then we can go into the resolution.
Yeah, simply put,
You're right.
In your local law for 2009, there are two deadlines. One was an exemption for 5 subdivisions through conditional final approval. And there was also a sunset provision that 18 months after the adoption of local law 4 of 2009, any and all exemptions would expire unless otherwise extended. The board may remember we recently, and I want to say it was October, extended a lot of what I call the zoning exemptions to January 27 of this month. The 18-month period is July 27 of this year. And so what the resolution reflects is, for consistency purposes, all 5 applications are noticed for zoning purposes and for sunset provision as being extended through July 27, 2011. And that's the basis of the resolution.
Do you want to go through this resolution for us then, Dennis?
I can. It has to do with the extension of exemptions pursuant to Section 5 of Local Law Number 4, 2009, with respect to the following subdivision applications. A&L Acres, LLC, which is Section 13, Block 1, Lot 34.2. Zalewski, Section 20, Block 1, Lot 8. Traskus, Section 18, Block 1, Lot 8.22. Pursuant, Section 17, Block 1, Lots 4 and 36. And Heritage Estates, Section 8, Block 1, Lot 9.22. And Section 11, Block 1, Lot 98.5.
26.
I can't see it with my glasses.
Right.
The preliminaries, the whereas clauses, where as I just indicated, with the historical background, and the provision that now therefore be resolved that said applicants be granted an extension of time to July 27th from the sunset provisions of Section 5, and also, again, the provisions or the exemption pursuant to local laws 1 and 2 of 2008 and Section 3 and 4 of 2004.
Good. Would someone like to make a motion in this regard?
I'll move.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? I do have a question.
Sure.
On Monday, we're talking July 28th versus 27th. 27th is the day?
27th today.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
You always, count.
No, I just want to make sure we're correct.
Counting aspect, yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilman Cantorino?
Aye.
Councilman Capella?
Aye.
Councilman Newbold?
Aye.
Supervisor Bloomfield?
Aye. Mr. Lyons is not here this evening.
Okay.
Motion? Sure.
No, go ahead.
Motion carries. The resolution is passed.
I just need to move it in a second on that. I moved it. Councilman Newbold in a second was Capella.
And oh, by the way, Mr. Lyons is under the weather. He's not here this evening. Okay, the next item is approval of the minutes of work. Would someone make a motion we approve the minutes of work session and regular meetings of November 22nd? And wait a minute, we're missing a date here. What was the work session, the first work session?
That was, I believe, December 3rd, and it's not clean.
No, we have a work session, a regular meeting in November.
Oh, that work session isn't on. It was just the regular meeting.
Was that one of those combined work sessions? Oh, okay, fine, thank you. Okay, someone make a motion then we approve the minutes of work session and regular meeting of November 22nd, 2010, and work session of December 6th, 2010.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The next item is we've been in contact with the Time Warner Cable Company, and we've ironed out the last details of the franchise renewal. It will still remain 5%. It was 5% in the past. 3% was going for the infrastructure change, and no, 2% was going to that, 3% to us. But anyway, would someone like to make a motion authorizing the supervisor to sign this new contract?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Any details on this?
Details of the contract.
Yeah.
For the rest of the.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, it's really an executive session.
Oh, I don't know.
We're sorry.
Not so much exactly, because
We're getting ready to approve it.
Yeah, you're ready to approve, exactly. It was the basic format. I don't have a date on this, which was previously submitted. It's a renewal of their franchise for Goshen, if you will. And the only real change from the boilerplate, as I refer to it, is that, as Supervisor Bloomfield just mentioned, our share, if you will, of the rate structure is going to go to a full 5%, which we'll receive. In the past, we received 3, and 2 went to a construction fund. Now, in regards going forward, we get the full 5. Do you want me to make known what the decision was on the construction fund?
Go for it.
Okay.
Well,
That
Not the executive.
no, not really.
It goes right to the budget.
It goes right into the budget.
Well, but it'll be agreed to tomorrow.
Right, and the board does have to be aware of this, and it's important that they agree.
Right, this is contract negotiation?
No.
It's not negotiations, it's a fait accompli. It was negotiations, now it's been proffered. I would recommend it to the board, it's a question of delivering it to you.
That's the way I look at it.
Go for it.
Yeah. No, because they don't,
I was in there today, so
Yeah, right.
I was on the conference call.
exactly, Councilman Cantorino, and I know Mr. Bloomfield was aware. The construction fund, which is for extension purposes throughout uncabled areas in the town of Goshen, and has risen to a level of about $370,000. Right. Those funds are now going to be dealt with as follows. $120,000 are going to be retained by Time Warner for purposes of extension. Should there be no extension, they'll be revisited again. But in terms of their plans where they believe that population and interest warrant the extension of the service. The other $250,000 is going to be split, if you will, 60% to the town of Goshen and 40% going back to Time Warner. Because it has to do with that split on the 532. Just so the board is aware. So our $150,000 stipend, if you want to call it that, will go right to the budget, general fund, I assume.
That's correct. Okay.
When is this, just for Jerry's purpose, I want to make sure, because since we're bringing this up, when will we get the final approval tomorrow?
When we, depending on what we vote tonight, authorizing me to sign the contract, Dennis is going to contact his counterpart in Time Warner, saying that the board agreed to this, and then it's a done deal.
Right. Well, the reason I'm asking is because it hits the paper and it sort of doesn't go down. I want to make sure.
No, it goes down for this reason, and you have to remember this. It has to do with the contract, and that construction fund comes from that 5%. We've been receiving 3 to go to the fund. What we're going to do now is we're taking all 5 going forward.
I understand.
No, just so it's part of the contract, which are basically the motion is to authorize the supervisor to sign it. Oh, yeah, no, I understand. No, it's a fait accompli other than
Well,
administrative.
actually, the contract going forward is what we're voting on. We're not voting on the 150.
Correct, but that's the effect
But that's
of
I know.
the renegotiation of the construction fund and what's going to be the disposal, if you will, of the existing amount.
now. With a general discussion, if we said no, we want 70% or something like that, then we would share that with Dennis and see what he could do. But that's another issue. The motion here tonight is on the contract going forward, so we can put it in place.
Right.
Okay, so the numbers we're talking about right now is not part of what we're voting on.
Strictly the 5%, the
5% indirectly has to do with
Oh, I know that. Okay.
Yes.
Well, he brought up an interesting point, we discussed other things.
Oh, yeah, if you, for whatever reason, are like, absolutely not, we want all to go for construction, and we don't want any of the money, then, yeah, we can go back and revisit it again.
Now, that 5%.
Which I can't foresee that happening, but, you know,
I don't know about it. Now, that 5% we were discussing was, can we charge back to the customers?
that's going to be at the Time Warner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it won't necessarily be, it's a business decision
Okay.
and a regulatory,
We had
legal.
around, I just want to make sure, okay.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
No, it is, it's time.
Any other discussion? I'd just like to say that George isn't here, but George has been working on this for about 2 years. Well, we all have been, in terms of trying to find out, but George is the one who, we've been working with the state of New York and everybody, and so bring it this far along is a lot of his work. Okay, Madam Clerk, can we have roll call vote, please?
Councilman Cantorino?
Aye.
Councilman Capella?
Aye.
Councilman Newball?
Aye.
Supervisor Bloomfield?
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Under new business, last week, no, on Monday, I shared with the board and we accepted the resignation of Ray Morusky, who's been with the planning board for many, many, many years, effective February 1st. He's changing his residence to the state of Florida and can no longer serve on our board. The selection that we advertised a few weeks ago to backfill Mr. Goronsky, who went to the planning board, and Giovanni Piragalli, he accepted he responded, said he wanted to be on the Environmental Review Board. He's been there, but now he is the logical person to go to the planning board. Giovanni is an electrical engineer. He works for the Federal Aviation Administration. We also, as a town board, know him because he has been on the Assessment Review Board for, I think, 2 or 3 years. In fact, this past year he was the chairman of it, so he does good work. And I reviewed this with the chair of the planning board, and he's quite excited about this possibility. So, with that, would someone like to make a motion that we appoint Giovanni Piragalli to the town Goshen Planning Board effective February 1st, 2011 to December 31st of 2012?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We will be then advertising in the local paper for new candidates for the Environmental Review Board, the Assessment Review Board, and the Ethics Review Board. We have 3 openings. Okay, under the new business finance, would someone like to make a motion to authorize the supervisor to pay a manual accounts payable check runs 15/2010 and 1/6/2011, amounting to $15,656.35, and accounts payable check run of December 16, 2010, amounting to $74,847.96, and December 29, 2010, amounting to $47,635.28.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion?
I'm being conservative today. I know you are.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. It's now open for privilege of the floor on anything that anybody would like to talk about. Jerry.
What was that first board? You said Assessment Review Board?
Board of Assessment Review is what it's called.
And what's the first one you said?
The Environmental Review Board. And then we have an Ethics Board. So those are the 3 vacancies.
Okay.
Any other comments from the public?
Well, I'd like to make a comment.
Go for it.
About something, but I just want to make sure everybody else is done. I have 2 just brief items that we had the press here, and the chief of police had asked me if I would make an announcement. What's happening is he's sending out a letter to all our residents regarding alarms. And if you have an alarm in your house and it's active, they have to be registered with the town clerk. They come in here and register those alarms. Because there are situations where there could be a lot of false alarms. And we do have a town law which will be attached to all the letters with a fine structure in the event that it's an abused situation, because every alarm they have to send the police out to respond. So if there are a number of false alarms, it becomes a real burden. So he's sending a letter out, and if you would just make an announcement. I don't have a copy of that letter with me, Jerry, but if you want it, I will get you a copy.
In that regard, Phil, since I was one, I had an alarm system put in by a company, and I got a letter from the past town clerk saying I owed $50 or whatever, an application fee.
Right.
And I hadn't paid, so I had to pay that. So in addition to registering, there's a fee that will be due at the same time because it's part of the code.
Right, it's part of our code. And he will be mailing a copy of the code to the residents so that they do know what to expect. And the other item I have, only because there was an article in the Chronicle, and our police chief did receive a letter regarding the theft of the copper out of houses that are not inhabited, and it was a letter from a fellow named Ed Johnson, who does not live here. His mother lives here, and he gave the police lots of accolades for doing that and patrolling, because his neighbor at one time, or his mother's neighbor, had the same thing happen to her. So he was very, very happy that the police did patrol, and I just want...
I didn't write that. This is the first I'm hearing of it.
Well, did you go online to read your paper?
Yeah,
It's in the Chronicle. It's in tomorrow's edition.
Oh, Dennis.
There's an article in the Chronicle. dated January. Is your paper done today? Does it go to print
Yes,
today?
it does.
Well, it's online. I read it
I'm
online.
just wondering who wrote that.
I don't know,
But
but
it's probably just a police report, probably no one wrote it.
Oh, police report.
It's a police report.
There's a regular
Okay.
article. No,
Oh,
did you, anybody else?
You're looking at me for it.
It was Officer Ramsey.
And it was Officer Ramsey, right, and, yep.
What he did, he saw a tire track that went up to the home, and so he went up to investigate, and the guy was in the process of stealing copper out of the house.
And he had some, like, 300 pounds of copper in the back of his truck, which they estimated salvage value was like $400.
I was going to say copper traded for $4.34 a pound.
Really?
Being an electrician, it was worth a lot more than $400.
No kidding. Okay, I'm just quoting from...
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Are you suggesting that...
I think, well, was it Maple Avenue? I don't...
It was on Maple
Yeah, it was Maple, yeah.
Yeah, Maple Avenue. So anyway, the letter was already sent and so on and so forth, commending our police department for that.
Are you suggesting that the copper got the copper thief?
The copper? Thank you, Joel. Oh, boy. Joel is always there.
You put it on the paper, the copper got the copper.
The copper got the copper. The copper thief. So I just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
I've got a very good for you. On Monday night, the village board had a court officer running the magnetometer for people coming in, for Neil, myself, and Rennie.
Hope they don't have too much for hours.
The
Suspicious character.
It's not fair to call it an excuse. The rationale that was offered was in consideration of what has happened out in Arizona. So my question to this board is, have you considered it? If you do consider it, will the board members be screened as well? Because quite honestly, I'm as afraid of you as you are of me.
It's interesting you talk about it, because today we just sent off to the state, it's called PESH, it's the Personnel Employee Safety and Health Group, a security plan that we put together, and that's one of the things we've looked at in the position of the group of department heads in the town of Goshen. Feels like we want the public here before us, etc., and that vulnerability will, as is with my office and the clerk's office and other places, we're going to leave it just the way it is. But we discussed it.
My take on it is if people don't care enough to be angry with you to come here and stand here anyway, the chairs are all empty, what's the point? And it's the same thing.
Nobody checked his beard, though.
Nothing.
I wouldn't.
These suspicious characters, too.
Very Hasidic looking.
But you know, but it is true, there's a vulnerability based on what we do for a living here.
Oh,
And,
absolutely.
and we, you know, and we went around to every section of the town hall, the police department, the Department of Public Works, each section, and asked the employees, do you feel safe? What would you change differently? So forth and so on. And everybody feels safe with what we've got. Okay? And so that's what's, and then we've met 3 times, this whole group of leadership, and we will meeting continually. I'm the chairman of this group. And we're going to talk about safety issues. Now, maybe in the future we'll change our mind. And we'll come to the board and require something or say, oh, what do you think of this? But right now we're going to leave things the way they are, based on employee input.
One would hope that security would depend upon more than just people feeling safe, that there are...
Oh, we're looking at, yeah, absolutely. We have a checklist of probably 40 items. And, yeah.
Well, you know, this is the courtroom, and when they convene the court, we have the magnetometer, and we have officers here, but that's a different situation.
Well, it's a different environment, yeah.
My question, because their officers carry guns, like armed. It's nice to have a court officer in the building, but, well, was he going to tackle somebody? I don't know.
The officer was not armed to the best of my record.
Oh, well, just okay.
By the time you get that far, if you're armed, it's over with.
I have a different view, but we won't discuss that. That's okay.
Right. But anyway, I'm glad you brought it up, and it's just I'm so pleased with because we've spent now almost 2 months of many hours, and the 2 things that we sent to the PESH organization today was workforce security, our program plan, all the things, checklist, etc. Really quality job. And then the other one was confined entry, space entry for things like manholes, etc. Another nice job. And so, yeah, very timely.
I'm not saying it's not a concern. I suppose it also begs the question, is anybody packing?
I have gum in my pocket.
The public wants to know.
I'm not.
A pack of chewy.
Very good. Anything else from the public?
No, I just like to add, and maybe Lou can take this up, I want to commend the highway department. What a spectacular job they did in the big storm, and then I guess last night also. And we forget that if they do our roads along, they have to go home and do their own homes. So I'm always admiring those guys. I met with a few of them Saturday, and they really worked hard for us. And
I agree. They did a great job. Matter of fact, I want to elaborate on that because this past weekend I went down to Jersey for a function. I had to bring my mother home with me, who lives in Jersey. And when we got up the next day for me to take her back down, she says, in Italian, she says, the roads are so nice up here. In other words, we do a better job in Jersey. She says, because her street, she lives in a highly traveled area. So they do a great job. You happen to see other work to appreciate what we have.
Yes.
And today, yesterday, God, everything was so clean.
7:30 was perfect, yeah.
It was just amazing.
Yeah. I'd have some of you being a highway liaison that do your road, but that's another issue.
But they do mine last.
No, I think they dump all the snow in my driveway, so we have some discussion.
Okay, well, thank you for that comment. Okay, would someone like to make a motion that we adjourn the meeting and go into executive?
One last thing, just occurred to me. Perhaps you spoke to this before I came in. Is there any progress report on the arbitration discussions that can be discussed publicly?
Can we? No. What about the
arbitrator's been appointed.
Right.
But that's all we have so far.
Right. That was something you might not have known.
Have there been dates scheduled at this point?
No. And we're going to talk about that this evening. Take that back. Yes, we are. Yes. No, we're not. We're not.
No, there's really nothing to talk to you about.
Yes, Jerry?
The ethics board, what is their function and their duties?
If we have someone accuses us of an ethics, any employee or elected member of an ethics violation, then we will go to this impartial group who will investigate it and determine whether it was an ethics violation or not. We all employees sign every year in January, certain criteria that we are not, that we understand what we're quite required of us, and that we've not accepted bribes, et cetera, and all this kind of thing.
What interest you might have.
Right,
yes, all that.
Where there could be a conflict.
Right.
Yes, yeah.
Now, we sign off on that, and that's what we have to adhere to. And if someone challenges it, something that they know of or whatever, then that's going to be investigated, and so that we're kept honest. I don't think every municipality has it. We've had it since I've been here.
I think the village either has it or did have it.
I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't cost you a thing. It's just something else that, so you can be beyond reproach with the public. What a good question. Any other questions? Would someone like to make a motion then, we adjourn the meeting, go into executive session with the intent not to return, to discuss Heritage State's water and sewer contract development, the CSEA request for a grievance arbitration, and a tax surcharge review.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
We're not going to return, I believe.
Yes, we're not going to. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. I'd really like to thank everybody for coming out in this cold.
Yeah.
It is going to be a hot day here tonight.
So long, Luke.
It is, you look.
Oh, no, he's got a big kick.
You know, I really do like that.